The extent of the honey fraud is just skyrocketing. It is getting out of control.
In the last decade, there's been an increase in honey spiked with syrups like rice and corn.
Go grab your honey bottle for a second. Tip it. If it pours like syrup, you might not be eating honey at all. Because here's the uncomfortable truth. The processed honey market is a mess, and most people have no idea they're being scammed. The stuff that used to taste like wildflowers and come straight from a beekeeper, it's been replaced by industrial syrup wearing a cute bear costume. And the real shock, international food agencies rank honey as one of the most adulterated foods in the world. We're talking blends stripped of pollen, overheated until the enzymes die, and bulked up with mystery sweeteners that your body definitely didn't ask for. Today we're naming 10 brands you should ditch immediately, 5 that are the real deal, and the quick-at-home tests that expose the frauds in seconds. Let's get into it. Pharmacy selling health products, right? You'd think. Past independent investigations, most notably a 2011 Food Safety News analysis, found several major store brand honeys, including Walgreens, contained no detectable pollen. 0. Gone. Vanished. Ultra-filtration so intense that all botanical markers were removed. Here's why this matters. Pollen is honey's fingerprint. It tells you where it came from, what flowers the bees visited, whether it's legit. When pollen's gone, traceability's gone. You're buying mystery liquid, and if you're one of the millions buying local honey for seasonal allergies, ultrafiltration just killed that possibility. No pollen means nothing for your immune system to adapt to. Walgreens sells safe products, sure, but their older honey batches reflected an industry-wide obsession with clarity over authenticity. Pharmacies peddling processed syrup? That's just the warm-up. If health stores process this hard, wait till you see Target's aesthetic con. Target's Good and Gather honey oozes farm-fresh vibes. Clean design, minimalist aesthetic. True source, certified. Sounds legit, right? Here's the catch. That certification refers to supply chain documentation. Traceability on paper, not pollen content, not enzyme activity, not minimal processing, and Target doesn't publish independent lab data confirming what's actually inside those pretty bottles. Many big box honeys pour perfectly year-round, same texture, same consistency. Forever. True honey thickens or crystallizes depending on season, floral source, temperature. When texture never changes, that typically signals heating and uniform blending. Not necessarily fake, but definitely not raw, natural nectar. Pretty packaging isn't proof, it's marketing. Big box stores mislead with aesthetics. But if you thought that was bad, CVS took it to another level. CVS honeys included in that 2011 FSN investigation also showed no detectable pollen, completely stripped. I drizzled CVS honey on toast once. Regret in a bottle. Here's your quick taste test. Put a tiny amount on your tongue. Notice how it just dissolves instantly? Flat, one-note sweetness with zero complexity? That's processing talking. Real honey coats your mouth, leaves behind distinct floral notes, clover, wildflower, whatever the bees found. Sometimes even a slight bitterness. Lingers. Ultra-filtered honey looks perfect, pours perfectly, stays liquid forever. Not ideal for mass production, but exponentially better if you're using honey for wound care or sore throats, where those heat-sensitive compounds actually matter. CVS makes solid pharmacy products. Their honey just doesn't behave like bee-fresh nectar. Ever trusted CVS with your meds? Now, watch Texas brands weaponize government labels. HB Honey proudly displays Grade A. Big, bold, official-looking, government-approved, right? Someone checked this? Hold up. USDA Grade A only measures color, clarity, and flavor. Period. Not purity, not pollen presence, not whether bees even made it. Crystal clear, perfectly golden honey can earn Grade A while being heavily heated and filtered. No botanical markers needed, just pretty appearance. There's no current public pollen data confirming how minimally processed HB honey is. Like many regional bottles in large stores, it may rely on blending and heating for uniformity. When you see Grade A on honey, read it as A for aesthetics. Pretty, not proof of purity. Government labels as marketing magic. Grocery giants add another trick: industrial heat. Kroger positions itself as the middle ground staple. Safe bet, not fancy, not bottom shelf. Behind the scenes, they're cooking the evidence. Like many supermarket honeys, Kroger's honey is typically heated and filtered, which improves shelf life, prevents crystallization, and destroys heat-sensitive enzymes. Heating honey above approximately 104 degrees Fahrenheit breaks down invertase and other beneficial compounds. Ensures bottles look beautifully clear on shelves for months. Legal? Yes. Common? Absolutely. Same as raw honey? Not even close. Here's the problem for diabetics specifically. All honey still raises blood sugar. But when you're buying cheap blends or honey potentially cut with syrups, you lose any edge that minimally processed honey might have in how your body handles it. We're not buying honey, we're buying the illusion of honey. From heat-zapped grocery bottles to America's diner darling. Picture this. Every diner, every cafeteria, every hotel buffet, that plastic bear on the table, Smuckers. Our kids have consumed gallons without knowing what it actually is. Older investigations found several mainstream brands, including Smuckers, showed signs of intense filtration. Remember, no pollen means no traceability. Doesn't prove it's fake, proves it's processed for uniformity, resulting in honey that tastes exactly the same year after year. Smuckers built an empire on consistency. And that's exactly what their honey delivers. Uniform flavor, uniform texture, uniform pour. Because it's processed for that outcome. Not harmful, just not the complex enzyme-rich honey many assume they're buying. Ditch Smuckers? Before we reveal number 4, hit that subscribe button. Number 1 will expose an entire category of honey fraud hiding in plain sight. But if Smuckers stings, Whole Foods might actually hurt. This one's gonna sting worse than 1,000 bees. Whole Foods markets itself as the refuge from processed grocery food. We pay premium prices expecting higher standards and minimal processing. We grab that 365 organic honey. $12. Organic, screaming in green letters. Feel good about taking care of our families. Here's the truth bomb. Organic honey certification is complicated. Bees roam miles. You can't control where they fly. Organic labels don't guarantee raw, don't guarantee unheated. Whole Foods does not publish independent lab results for pollen or enzyme levels. Independent hobbyist microscopy and consumer reports suggest some 365 honey varieties show pollen presence, while others appear highly filtered or heat-treated. Sign that Whole Foods, like other retailers, relies on multiple suppliers with differing practices. Organic, not equal raw. Organic, not equal unheated. Organic equals marketing magic. We're not paying for quality. We're paying to feel virtuous while buying processed honey anyway. My grandma and yours swore by local jars. Turns out they were right. Now wait till you hear about the brand marketed as heroes. This one burns because we bought Nature Nates to escape the processed honey trap. Happy bees on the label, sunflowers everywhere. Raw and unfiltered screaming from the packaging. We're paying $10 to $15 thinking we're supporting the good guys. Try the crystallization test. Leave Nature Nates and a supermarket brand on your counter for a month. Supermarket bottle? Still liquid. Nature Nates? Many jars start forming those cloudy crystals at the bottom. That's actually a good sign. Real honey crystallizes because it's alive. Pollen, enzymes, natural sugars interacting. When honey stays liquid forever, that's a red flag for heavy heating or filtration. Now here's the wrinkle with Nature Nates. Because they source from numerous beekeepers, batch variation happens. Some jars crystallize fast, others slowly. Some thicker, some thinner. This isn't proof of wrongdoing, it's natural variation. Real honey does this. However, media reports and consumer lawsuits in recent years question whether all batches meet a strict raw definition, since the honey industry has no legal definition of that term. Likely better than grocery store choices, but not the perfectly consistent raw gold consumers imagine. Hold up. Does yours crystallize? Have a look and drop yes or no in the comments. Now for a century-old American classic with a century-old problem, for over 100 years, Sous Bee has been America's honey brand. Our grandparents bought it. Our parents bought it. That vintage label feels like safety in a bottle. When we grab Sous Bee, we're buying nostalgia. Heartland beekeepers, real hives, American fields, century of tradition. That's the story they're selling. Reality. Like most large-scale producers, Sous Bee uses filtration and heating to create a stable, uniform product for nationwide distribution. Older analyses showed reduced pollen in some Sous Bee products, consistent with mainstream processing, not necessarily adulteration. Their unfiltered versions may retain more natural components, but their standard products aim for consistency over seasonal variation. Not unsafe, not fraudulent, just standardized, pasteurized, processed. We're not buying our grandparents' honey, we're buying a nostalgia-flavored illusion. The worst category isn't even a brand, it's an entire grocery aisle corner. The biggest threat in the honey market isn't a single brand, it's the entire category of generic, ultra-filtered supermarket honeys screaming 100% pure. Let that sink in. Want to see the difference instantly? The water test. Drop a spoonful of ultra-filtered honey into a glass of room temperature water. It dissolves quickly, disperses easily. Now try real raw honey. It often sinks as a solid clump and takes much longer to dissolve. That density difference is what processing destroys. Ultrafiltration is legal, but it strips the pollen that reveals honey's botanical and geographic origins. When pollen's gone, origin can't be verified. Many international studies over the last decade, across the US, EU, and Asia, found widespread overprocessing in budget honey blends, especially imported ones. These honeys are blended, filtered, and heated to deliver consistency and long shelf life, not raw authenticity. They've normalized honey that pours like water and never changes, not dangerous, not fraudulent by default, but definitely not what we picture when we think real honey. When the cheapest option cuts every corner, it forces everyone into a race to the bottom. Enough rage, deep breath, finally winners who actually deliver. That was brutal. If you're sipping tea right now, check that jar. You're probably ticked off, maybe feeling betrayed. Here's what nobody talks about. Real honey absolutely exists. Beekeepers doing it right, companies refusing excessive filtering, producers prioritizing natural flavor over clarity. We verified 5 brands known for maintaining natural characteristics like pollen, enzymes, flavor variation, and crystallization. Not perfect, nothing is, but solid, trustworthy options worth our money. Smash like if Whole Foods shocked you. Hit subscribe before we reveal the winners. Factory honey is done. Meet the Hive heroes. Trader Joe's honey frequently performs well in independent hobbyist tests and consumer analyses, showing visible pollen, natural crystallization, and seasonal flavor changes. Around $8 to $10 per jar, strong baseline for real, minimally processed honey. Not every supplier is identical, so batches vary slightly. Exactly what real honey should do. Textures spot on. Thick, crystallizes naturally over time. Proof it's legitimate, not a defect. Trader Joe's gets a lot right at a reasonable price point. This is what we should expect as baseline. Food acting like actual food. But regional honey lovers? This next one's for you. Picture Texas wildflowers fueling bees for local hives' regional magic. Local hive sources from American beekeepers and emphasizes regional varieties, Rocky Mountain, Texas, Midwest, etc. Consumers consistently report strong flavor differences between regions, sign of lower processing and genuine variation in nectar sources. Do the smell test. Open a jar of local hive and inhale deeply. Distinct floral punch, wildflower, clover, sometimes herbaceous notes. That intensity means minimal processing. The aromatics haven't been cooked away. Independent tests show pollen presence in many local hive products, supporting claims of minimal filtration. Expect to pay $12 to $15. You're paying for regional identity, not factory uniformity. Bonus: while scientific evidence on allergy benefits is mixed, local honey does contain regional pollen, which many consumers value for potential seasonal support. Flavor complexity tells us immediately it's legitimate, not one-note factory sweetness. Next up, a brand that built its entire identity on purity and actually delivers. YS EcoBee Farms specializes in raw, unpasteurized honey with strong flavor profiles. Their varieties, wildflower, clover, buckwheat, actually taste different. Night and day differences. That's exactly what authentic honey should do. The brand emphasizes sustainable beekeeping and minimal processing. Independent microscopy frequently shows pollen-rich samples. Prices range from $10 to $18, depending on variety. But we're getting active enzymes, antioxidants, pollen, the stuff that makes honey worth eating beyond just sweetness, especially if you're using it for immune support or when you're sick. Their buckwheat honey is nearly black, intensely medicinal, earthy, powerful, proof of natural variation, not industrial blending. If you want honey that behaves like honey should, YS delivers every single time. This is what happens when producers care more about quality than quarterly profits. Beautiful. Canadian precision coming next. This Canadian company earned recognition for purity and transparency. Customer-shared microscopy and third-party tests show pollen presence and active enzymes, indicating minimal heat treatment. Pour test time. Beekeepers' Naturals. Honey flows slowly, thick, ribbons that stack on themselves. Watch it resist gravity. That viscosity screams unprocessed, harder to find than supermarket brands. Might need to order online or hunt specialty stores. But that's part of the appeal. They focus on smaller scale production, not mass distribution. Quality over Walmart shelf space. Expect $15 to $20 per jar. Pricey, sure, but still cheaper than paying $10 for heated filtered honey with diminished benefits. Real honey at 20 beats fake honey at 10. We get what we pay for. Supporting brands like this helps rebuild a fractured honey industry, and honestly, we deserve better than what grocery stores are selling. Now it's time for the highest standard of all. Finally, a champion. Wetherspoon's Manuka honey stands in its own category. Different league entirely, Manuka honey from New Zealand is closely regulated and frequently UMF certified, verifying methyl glyoxal and other unique bioactive compounds. UMF is a legitimate industry standard backed by lab testing, and Wetherspoon participates in those verification systems. Yes, it's expensive, $25 to $40 depending on the UMF level, but it's also one of the most lab-verified honeys in the world. If you're using honey for wound care, digestion, or immune support, UMF-rated Manuka is one of the few honeys with solid clinical research behind its antibacterial activity. Flavor? Strong, dark, thick, medicinal, crystallizes quickly, intense. Exactly what real Manuka should do. Everything about it broadcasts authenticity. Worth the premium. If we're using honey therapeutically with actual research backing it, absolutely. Just want something for daily tea? Start with the more affordable, authentic options above. But if we want verified therapeutic compounds with clinical evidence, this is the gold standard. This is what we deserve. This is what honey used to be before corporations corrupted it. 10 brands to ditch, 5 worth your trust. But let's talk about the elephant in the room. Honey is one of the most commonly adulterated and over-processed foods globally. Not because brands are evil, but because the industry prioritizes uniformity, clarity, and shelf stability over natural variation. Regulations allow heating and filtering. Labels rarely explain the difference between raw, filtered, and ultra-filtered. We assume 100% pure means unprocessed. It doesn't. The honey industry is broken. When multiple international studies show widespread overprocessing, we're not talking about a few bad apples. Systematic deception through legal loopholes, weak labeling standards, zero enforcement. So what can we actually do? First, choose minimally processed honey. Look for raw, unfiltered, or beekeeper direct, but buy from brands with a track record. Second, expect variation. Real honey crystallizes. Real honey thickens in winter. Real honey tastes different jar to jar. If it doesn't, question it. Third, learn those simple home tests. Pour, water, smell, crystallization. None are perfect, but together they reveal patterns. Fourth, support small beekeepers. They produce the most authentic honey and rely on informed customers to survive against industrial processing plants. Fifth, spread awareness. Most people believe all honey is created equal. It absolutely isn't. So share this video with everyone. If your parents or grandparents use honey daily for health, send it to them. If your friends shop organic, assuming it guarantees authenticity, they need to see this. Your turn. Which brand blew your mind? Comment below. Tell me what food fraud we should expose next. Subscribe for weekly deep dives exposing food fraud. Your grocery store isn't telling you the whole story, but we will. Click the video on the screen right now. We're here to help you make better choices and protect you against an industry that isn't always looking out for you. See you in the next one.